DC Multiverse!
Well, hello again, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Brad the DC Universe Geek, and today I'm going to be taking an up-close and personal look at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Fleischer Studios Superman action figure. And this one is a big-time important one for me. If someone were to suggest a list of the most important or iconic versions of Superman throughout the years, I'm sure amongst them we would find the versions from Siegel and Schuster, Kurt Swan, Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, and Jim Lee, just to name a few. But honestly now, what'd you think of the Fleischer Studios Superman cartoon version? Well, I do. The Fleischer Superman Studios cartoons are super important. No pun intended. Anyway, here we see the action figure inside of its McFarlane Toys. Very typical, par for the course, black, white, and blue packaging. On the sides, we have the words Superman Classic Animation 1940. And on the back, we have yet another take on the iconic classic Superman issue #1 cover. It seems like almost everyone has done a version of this. Heck, even I've done a version of this here for this channel. And outside of the package, this is everything that we got on the inside. The action figure, an action figure base, an extra set of open hands, I'm assuming that these are flight hands, and the ever-present McFarlane Toys trading card with the same image as the back of the box. The back of the card reads,
Superman! Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. This amazing stranger from the planet Krypton. The Man of Steel. Superman. Empowered with X-ray vision, possessing remarkable physical strength, Superman fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice, disguised as a mild-mannered newspaper reporter, Clark Kent.
The figure itself looks absolutely beautiful. I literally, looking at this, have not one out-of-the-box complaint or negative thought about it. And that's not just because I'm super biased, no pun intended, but it's because they've just done such a bang-up job with the appearance of this figure. Superman's S looks fantastic. They've done a great job on that S with the yellow outline around the outside with the black in behind the symbol there. They've accurately depicted Superman as having a red belt and a yellow belt buckle, which is exactly how he looked at the time in those Fleischer Studios Superman cartoons. This Superman's cape does not have an S on the back, which is accurate to the cartoon. It's nice and wired so that we can put the cape in various poses. I suppose technically it may be just a little bit too long for how it appeared in the cartoons. I think in the cartoons it actually came up to here, just at the back of his knees. The blue tone that was chosen for this Superman action figure is actually accurate to the cartoons as we knew them for most of their history. The actual cartoons themselves, when you see them in their remastered format, the blue is actually brighter than this. However, this is accurate to how he looked for literally everyone's life who worked on this figure. And using the Crisis Superman body buck to make this figure on is the absolute perfect right choice. On account of the fact that this body buck is not super muscular looking. I mean, he definitely has a lot of muscle there, but it's absolutely nothing like this kind of thing, where all the muscles are really clear and defined. I like it. It's accurate to the films. Since we're talking about Superman's body, just for funsies here, I've got him placed alongside an image of the German-American model, Kazel Krausen, that Max Fleischer Studios based the image of their Superman off of. And when you compare this Superman figure to the sketches, it's actually pretty accurate. Again, McFarlane has done a great job and selected fantastic parts to make this figure out of. Even the head sculpt is actually perfect. And I mean that. It's absolutely perfect in comparison to the original sketches that it's based off of. I mean, just check it out. It doesn't get much better than that. They've done such a fantastic job. And as for comparisons with others, well, first I've got him with all 3 of my Fleischer Studios Superman action figures, all of my Superman figures that are based off of what he looked like in these animated features. And then next, I have him just here with a few of my favorite Superman action figures. Have they all been customized in some way? Absolutely. That's a thing. It happened. And as far as how articulated this guy is, I mean, we've seen this body buck in action before. I'm going to go through it with you anyway, just for the fun of it. So the first question I'm going to ask about this guy is exactly how much articulation can we get out of his head here? Well, first of all, you can tip his head up about that far and then down about that. So whether he's looking down or looking up because he's flying through the air, whether he's shooting himself like a missile because he's jumped, or whether he's learned how to fly yet. That's what we're looking at. And it really goes without saying it's going to go around 360, and it's going to have all of the other bobbling qualities that, you know, a rounded ball joint head sculpt is going to have. Combine that with his torso articulation, and now you have a pretty good amount of looking up motion if he's in the prone position in the sky. Prone in the sky. And it is, as you can see, pretty articulated. Back that far and then forward. Okay, well, that's the same old. Not a lot forward. That can be modified, but out of the box, you should have more forward push. Of course, he's got the socket, which works really well with this Superman body buck. It's really nice. And then you've got the rounded hinge in the socket there. You've got the double jointed super elbows along with the sculpted shaped rounded hinge that is really well articulated. Love that. And then we have the waist that is a 360 swiveler. And it's got some articulation before the belt of the trunks gets in the way. So if we move all 3, his waist, his torso, and his head, we're looking at, you know, about that. And we're looking at about that. And about that. Ooh, that's crazy. Down here, below the belt, Supes has that McFarlane style articulation. And he does have a little bit of that, what I like to think of as the appropriation of a thigh cut. He has that going on. Legs go up quite nicely. They go out quite nicely. And they even go back okay. But then we have the knees. And the knees are those double jointies and they tighten right up. And then we have, of course, the ankle, which is the sculpted rounded style hinge that goes up nicely, down just as pleasantly. And then it's also a pivot and we have the toe. So, although not a perfectly articulated action figure, definitely one of McFarlane's better articulated figures in comparison to some of them. Anyway, so, what do I think about this McFarlane Toys super classic 1941 to 43 Fleischer Studios Superman action figure? I loves it. I love it a lot. It is super in every way. If this is one that you've been on the fence about and you're not sure if you were going to order it or not, okay, well, this has my absolute seal of approval. And if you see this guy out in the wild, I'm sure that the second you pick it up and look at it through the window box, you're going to think the same thing. This is a fantastic version of this character. This is probably one of my favorite McFarlane Superman figures produced ever. And I am super happy to have my hands on it. Anyway, I guess that's all for now. So thank you so much for tuning in and watching. It means a lot to me, and I will see you all in the next one. Have a DC day, everybody, and take care of yourselves.